All right, we're safe for the time being. Now let me introduce myself properly. Lily Roth. Yep, I'm one of those Roths. Some call me smuggler, others pirate. Yet I prefer the sound of nautical entrepreneur. Came up with that one myself. So you come see Lily if you need something, or even if you just fancy a good chat with a lovely lady. Don't think I'd be forgetting that favor you owe to me. In fact, now I think of it, there's certainly a way you can be repaying this most considerable debt. You see, those blasted cultists have been plundering the refugee ships trying to escape Oriath. And if not for my incomparable skill as a sea captain, we'd have met the same fate. But now the drowned dead are washing ashore, and they ain't staying dead. There's been a whole lot of blood, sweat and tears getting these few lucky survivors here in one piece. What sort of captain would I be if I let them get ripped apart by walking corpses? Wipe the Twilight Strand clean of those filthy undead bastards and I'll call us even. Might even throw in a little something extra if you can pull it off. Whalem Roth. Here, let me share something I remember from your granddaddy's stories. No sooner had the others turned in fear from the great white Leviathan did Whalem load the ballista with his final harpoon. And right then he vowed to sea and sky that he, and he alone, would be the one to finally kill this bastard son of the Brine King. The ballista fired and the harpoon smote that creature right between the ribs as it made to dive back under the angry sea. Thick clouds of blood bloomed beneath the waves, roses flowering in the black water, and impossible though it seemed, the already shadowed ocean grew darker still. He used the bones of the great beast to reinforce the hull of his ship, the Black Crest. Old Rottooth, he's a true legend, a real pirate hero. I can only hope one day my own stories will reach his ears and make him proud of the granddaughter he had to leave behind. Yeah, I knew Tarkley, if you catch me drift. He's got no time for his old bunkmate these days, though. Too gaga-eyed over his lost cause of a fishwife Nessa. Time was, Tarkley and I would smuggle all about the coast of Oriath. Oh, good days they was. Sweet with rum, nothing but the wind and salt in our faces, freedom in our hearts, and the law on our tails. But I could tell he were getting ready to make feet for children's stockings with me, so I cut him loose. Not a spark's chance under the ocean the dreaded Lily Roth's gonna wind up swelling like some drowned carcass. Still, nice to work with that bugger one more time, just for old time's sake, you know? That scallywag. I reckon Bestel thinks I'd be the kind of lass who'll bed down with any sort of rascal. Not too far off, I guess. He is rather sweet, but not the most comely of figures. Actually, he kind of reminds me of my grandfather, Whalem Roth. A poet and scoundrel extraordinaire he be. Bestel's but spittle from the mouth of old Rottooth Roth. Ahem. Bust my blind cheek, said the sailor to the doxy. She sports her dairy treats afar and relishes her moxie. But a fire ship will sink the broken neath the ocean waves. Tip nutmegs a deadly token sends captains to their graves.
Despite your best efforts, Beast Slayer, a splinter of hope remains. The very seed that brought my beast into existence. The Dark Ember. Never again shall it birth a life so magnificent as the beast. Yet a residue of that power still lingers. Enough to give us a fighting chance against the ravenous Kitava. How do we obtain this Dark Ember? 3 hearts were silenced. 3 hearts must sing again, one last time. In that final flickering of life, our savior's seed shall be born. All I need are 3 fine souls with which to stoke the flames. Chevron of Umbra, Inquisitor Maligaro, Doldre the Dark Tongue. 3 spirits of near unfathomable resilience and vigor, freed with the beast's final exhalation. So let us begin the harvest. Chevron has come home to Axiom. We shall give her the warm welcome she sincerely deserves. If she is to be of any use to us, the Umbra's spirit must be wrenched from her mortal manifestation and lashed to our greater cause. That is your task. For my part, I shall negotiate the terms of her cooperation. With a tragic kiss and lasting embrace, her essence shall pass into me as if she were a sweet breath from the mouth of my lover. It is a sacrosanct sacrifice for all involved. Thankfully for you, all I ask is that you do what you clearly do best. Kill. Ambition is the bane of mortality. It was through ambition that we gods transcended the thick mud and thin blood of our mundane birthrights. Ambition that drove us to sustain our divine selves through the subjugation of others. Chevron's soul is made up of 1 part ambition and 2 parts raw, unbounded passion. Such a volatile spark shall burn briefly and brightly, in even the most deadened of hearts. I shall put this simply, for in truth, everything comes down to the simple act of planting a seed in the ground. The gods are rising because you slew the one creature that prevented them from doing so. Your name for it is the Beast. It was I who planted the seed in the rich soil beneath Highgate, who nurtured it, who watched it bloom into maturity, even as I succumbed to its mollifying powers. We gods, we were driven into slumbering darkness, to dream away eternity whilst the gentle beast watched over us. I would desire that we return to that blissful state, but my brothers and sisters of deism shall never submit to banishment. They have tasted freedom once more, and they shall not let go of this world until it is pried from their cold, dead hands. The beast was never a cruel master. It didn't want to destroy, to corrupt, to terrorize. It simply existed to exist. I made it that way. Unfortunately, in neglecting to provide it with ambition, I made it vulnerable to the ambitions of others. Queen Atziri and Doriani, Emperor Chittus and Malachi. Others even before them. I created a beast that would free humanity from the tyranny of the gods. Yet all I really did was provide the perfect tool with which humanity could tyrannize itself.
The name's Tujin. You're to do the dirty work while we do the digging. It's as good an alliance as any. Well, let's up to it. We're a proud people, but aren't they all? Difference is, we labour against the grim realities of life through the judicious application of bravery and courage. One's lineage carries an ongoing tally of renown and accomplishment. We do this not for ourselves, but for our children, should we one day have him. Ears open.
You're a woman of ironclad determination, I can tell. I'm Gwenin. I've got something I fervently believe in as well, but my religion is luck. I've run headlong into danger because it was what I wanted to do. Any orders be damned. And I bet it's the same for you. When your actions and beliefs align, you can do anything. Even win at gambling, which I bet you'll do. Care to try your luck? We've campaigned together for many years. It's taken a great toll on him, but he soldiers on. I don't know how he remains so cheery, honestly. If he loses another limb, he'll be more metal than man. During the failed rebellion, I once called out with all my heart. An arrow was arcing through the air. My arm was pinned, and I knew I couldn't get out of the way in time. I was a dead woman. But luck answered my earnest request. Another arrow, also on a murderous path, hit the first in midair, and both were diverted, landing on either side of me instead. That was the first time I knew that chance itself was a real force in this world. I didn't say that. You must have misheard. Never heard of gods, but I know I wouldn't put my faith in them, even if they came to my doorstep with an army. I've already solidified my beliefs where they belong.
I'm Rog. I specialise in logistics and planning. I don't know how you've survived out here on your own, but I'll do what I can to support you with my supply skills. From the back, far from combat. He's as loyal a friend as you'll ever find. He would never admit this, but all his scars and injuries are the result of diving in to take a blow for one of us. By all rights, Gwenin should be half mauled, and I should be missing a leg, but Tujin leapt between. I only feel safe enough to do my job because he's around. She'll never lie to you, Exile. Take that as you will.
You're naught but skin and bones, Exile. But you've made it this far. Clearly, you must have some talent. Care to lend your skills to a matter of honor? The most powerful artifact in our known tales was brought to this continent by the first expedition thousands of years ago. The songs tell of it incinerating evil, purifying tainted fields, and warding off those of ill intent. We could certainly use a relic like that now, in these troubled times. But to find it, we'll have to retrace the steps of those long-ago souls. Only they can tell us the Triskelion Flame's unknown fate. We are of the Kelgur. Ours is an existence spent scrabbling in the muck and mire of mortal life in search of scraps of renown. Some find it on the battlefield. Some find it in service. Others volunteer to sail to the edge of the known world on an impossible quest. The choices we make determine what we are, and what we become echoes into legend. The runes on our armor essentially capture and shape starlight. Sounds poetic, but don't be fooled. The smiths of the Kelgur turned these runes towards killing work long ago, as soon as they discovered they could compel arrows to find their mark, and blades to bite deeper. The greatest smiths became known as artificers, and produced work of singular genius. There weren't many such relics, but there didn't need to be. I believe that you believe that these colored gems give you power, Exile. I've handled one of them, even tried to activate it the way that local Tarkly described, but it didn't do a damn thing. Call me a skeptic, but to me, it seems like the power was inside you all along. I've never heard of this gods thing before setting foot here, but I know of at least one man who would fancy himself a god. Best we not mention divinity to those back home. My quest is to investigate the Knights of the Sun and acquire their relics. I'm willing to trade other less important relics for theirs.
Our charismatic leader is a man worthy of his position. He takes the front, the lead. I prefer to support things from a safe distance, and he, great man that he is, lets me do it. I've been on my fair share of quests and campaigns, and they keep trying to arm me and train me for fighting, telling me it was the only way I would find renown. But I aim to be the world's first famous supply master. That Rog, they'll say, he brought food and drink and equipment forth so promptly and so consistently it amazed the warriors on both sides and helped win the day. Danig tells me that this is a worthy dream to pursue. He's a good friend. I'm bound by honor to discover the fate of Uhtred and the Order of the Chalice. I'll trade you for any relics that you find with their marks and runes. They were the primary priesthood and religious order that went with the initial ships to Rayclast. They interpreted the stars and the workings of mysterious forces such as alchemy, machinery, and runes. I've always wanted to join the order. I quite like the idea of spending my days sequestered in a laboratory doing research. Thousands of years ago, the last news coming back to the homeland painted Uhtred in quite the negative light. Some called him a traitor, but the details were sparse and confused. I'm here to clear his name or condemn him. The truth stands above all.
He's a sweetheart. Have you seen the figurines he carves? The four of us use them to play this delightfully strange game he came up with. I love it because there are so many dice rolls and, well, you know me. Our intrepid leader believes in a world better than the one that truly is. He doesn't see you and me, Exile. He sees heroes. He sees grandiose myths and world-changing bravery. Don't dispel those notions. I want to live in the world he sees, even if I know it isn't real. I am honor-bound to discover the fate of Medvid and the Druids of the Broken Circle. They believed they could see into the future by peering into the past. Hypothetically, that's a power I'd very much like to have for reasons of chance and profit. But I'm not sure I want it to be true. If Medvid and his nature mystics were right, and time truly is a circle, Aren't we all doomed to repeat our lives over and over for eternity? If that is the truth, then there is no luck. No chance, no human will. All life is just a stage play repeating over and over. I don't think I like that notion. His final fate was unknown, but I do know he cast off his peaceful ways and trained with 2 powerful axes after he arrived here. We're not fools. We see that the dead rise here on Rayclast. If Medford is still out there, he'll be extremely dangerous. Conserve your luck, and use it against him if you find him.
Many a campaign would have failed if not for his logistical skills. We've trekked through mud, rain, snow and sand, and yet eaten heartily throughout. It's the true basis of war, mind you, logistics. Don't think we don't know that. She's a distant cousin of mine, so I do what I can to protect her. Got some weird ideas about the world, though. Thinks belief can shape events. If it could, we wouldn't have been defeated during our last campaign. He's a good man, a man of 2 worlds. Part aspire and dreamer, part cynical realist. I'll follow him to the ends of the world, which you know, because I already have. And here we are. I'm of a particular purpose, see? I'm scratching up the ground in search of an ancient rowdy band. They were called the Black Scythe Mercenaries. Their founder, a particularly heroic warrior by the name of Varana, shares ties to my bloodline. Before I can go home, I need to find out what happened to her. She was a fearsome and irrepressible warrior. King Cadogan III tried to mandate her service to the crown, but she laid flat every man sent to bring her in. Eventually, he realized that she couldn't be controlled, and he gave her a mercenary charter instead, given the freedom to operate the way she wanted. She won many great victories for the Kalgur. I respect those who make their own way. Her fate here on Rayclast was unknown, but I have a feeling she's still kicking about. A burning spirit like that never goes down without a legendary fight.
First we hear that Oriath has lost its bloody mind, and then you turn up. Doesn't take a scholar to work out how these 2 events might be connected. I don't know what's going on out there, and I probably wouldn't understand it if I saw it with my own 2 eyes. What I do know is this. The world we knew, it's gone. Now we have to do our damnedest to make sure we don't go with it. Nessa. I saw her one night, running out across the coast, headed in the direction of the mudflats. Called out to her, but she didn't even turn her head. Maybe she couldn't hear me. Maybe she didn't want to. I don't bloody know. I tried to run after her, but she'd vanished into the darkness before my feet had barely touched the sand. So I tracked her, all the way to the mudflats, and that's when her tracks, they just stopped. No sign of meeting someone or something. No sign of a struggle. It's like one moment she was running and the next, gone. Look, I've heard some things about what you've done. Things that beg a belief. Now you can do this, please. Find Nessa. Bring her back to us. I wonder how much Lily squeezed out of those refugees from Oriath. Yes, she did risk her life and ship to save them. But I knew the Lily of old, a damn fine smuggler. And that Lily never did a good deed that didn't also turn a profit. I had a life before Lion Eye's watch. Not much of one by some people's standards, but it was good enough for me. Lily and I, we'd smuggle a bit of booze to keep our purses full. We were good at it, too. Made us a fine partnership, her quick mind and my steady nerves, right up until the day she left me drunk and trussed on Penance Quay. By the time the blackguards unwrapped their present, she was halfway to Trathus. That's how I ended up here. Yes, it smarts a bit to look at her, but what right have I to say where the flotsam finally washes up? Never took much stock in the stories Lily told. Didn't sit right, those full moon sacrifices her and her ilk would do out on the open water. But now, in light of everything, obliged to reconsider. If it meant Nessa might be spared the attentions of that wretched Brine King, I'd even be inclined to slit a mutineering throat or two myself. Those shambling nobles out there on the strand, they left Oriath to die a bloody death, rats fleeing a sinking ship. Seems they learned a bit of the hard truth, though. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't outrun death when it comes for you. Can't say they've actually noticed, though. They're still the same flesh-eating bastards they've always been. Just a bit more obvious about it now.
Do I hear the clink of markers in your pockets? Claimed from one of your victims? Or perhaps the victim of one of your victims? It is impossible to know how far back that chain could unwind, but now they belong to you. And you seem to be in good health. To the victor, etc. It seems you are the one I have patiently waited for. Yes, you will do just fine. Take a marker in your hand, speak these words into your mind. The ring binds us all, and to all within I shall do no harm. I will see you soon.
Now there's a pair of eyes I could never forget. If the tales are true, those peepers of yours have seen all the wonders of Rayclast by now. And a few things they likely wish they hadn't. Oh, and no need for us to speak of Oriath. My ears are brimful with the sorrows these wretched companions of yours have been spilling. Now, I'm sure you've noticed that Lion Eyes Watch has seen better days. Our once bubbling township has, alas, become a brooding quagmire of gloom and despair. I blame the unrelenting weather. As you know, I am both a humanitarian and a strong believer in the soul-sustaining power of story. Back when I was still captain of the Merry Gull, many days at sea afforded me time to work on my thespian aspirations. I wrote a theatrical epic, a one-man show entitled Cedric and the Buxom Stranger. I sealed the manuscript inside a roll of oiled leather and stashed it in the hold for safekeeping. Perhaps you could salvage it for me from that tidal island upon which my poor ship came to rest. Who knows? Maybe we can bring some joy back to Lion Eyes Watch with a bit of live entertainment. Now there's a sorry tale, more miserable than any dirge I've ever heard. Nessa's gone. Wandered off into the night, muttering to herself about dancing to his ditty. No, I didn't go after her. In truth, she was gone when I woke up the next morn. I only imagined she'd be muttering, you see, on account of the murmuring she's been making these past few weeks. Always the same, about him and his song, whoever in damnation he is. Lily Roth, granddaughter of the legendary Rottooth Roth. Oh, apologies if I seem a little giddy. It's not any old day you get to meet marine royalty. I mean, you know how I feel about pirates and all, but the Roths have as much in common with those scurvy sea rats as a shark does with a goldfish. Lily has her granddaddy's blood in her veins. It's plain for all to see. Look at the luster in her eyes, the ruddy blush of her skin. That there's a pirate princess, and no mistake. Yes, we live in curious times indeed. A time when old stories are being birthed, muling, and puking into our world of dirt and blood. It's all a bit inspiring, really. Hence, I've written a little something. Ancient anecdotes now wake from their beds, looming in our fears, towering above our heads. Age-old lusts and bygone greeds, walking and reeking as humanity bleeds. Rivers of history, lakes of blood, the gods stand upon us as we cower in the mud. You won't find a sailor that doesn't whisper a quiet prayer to the Brine King before casting off. In fact, under the maddening radiance of a full moon, the more superstitious captains would drown some poor slave or failed mutineer just to keep old Tsoagoth happy. No, that wasn't a sneeze. That's a fish god's old Asmerian name. It's considered foul luck to speak it on board a ship. A keel-hauling offence. You'll not find a more renowned pirate as Whalem Rocktooth Roth. In times when Fairgraves was still a whelp earning his sea legs, Rocktooth was prowling the Strait of Orioth in his ship, the Black Crest. It's said he built it himself, lining its hull with the bones of some great sea beast he slew with nothing but a harpoon and a bottle of rum. Never was there a more nimble, more ferocious vessel. Like that Leviathan's spirit still lived and breathed in its timbers. No one sighted Rocktooth for 20 years or more, but I know where the Black Crest is. The ship graveyard, no less. Seems that Whalem Roth might have had his last meal with Lady Mervale.
Sight. So many drowned Oriathans cast into undeath. You freed them from their torment, and I'm sure they'd be grateful. Here, that little something extra I were talking about. Though the sea takes away, it gives back in greater measure. While you be skulking about, I've managed to do a bit of hunting on my own. Got a hole full of baubles and trinkets here, which I managed to, procure. Take a look. You might find something particularly naughty to help you on your life's voyage. You have the look of a wayfarer about you. I've a few bits and bobs in the hold that I managed to salvage from Orioth. Might be you're in the market for a little insurance for the road. The sort of nautical charm or a quaff of tonic be providing. Go on, have a look-see. And if you're thinking to trade, I reckon we can come to a fair arrangement.
Yes, it's all here. Act 1, Scene 1. Along the shoreline, the beach grass sways. A blazing sun sinks 'neath sparkling bays. Oh, strange be the night when the drowned dead rise, and a pale moon ascends upon cold skies. The stranger still is lost to me, those silken pillows upon which I lay at sea. Moody, atmospheric, not as funny as I remember, but I'm sure it gets better in Act 2. Regardless, you have my thanks. Please, take something for your efforts. And next time you're in town, do come and see the show. I'll leave your name at the door. If I can salvage a door from somewhere, that is.
He did this to me. The King of Brian. And he wants me to be... Oh, God. Please. I don't know how I'm doing this, nor if I may again. Help me. Help us before he... Before...
Let me teach you the laws of war. The soil wants for your blood no more. I am Sin, thief of virtue, and it is mine to take what I will from the defeated, to make a gift of it to the victorious. Alas, your mortal frame cannot withstand the unfettered fire of deism. It would turn your blood to mist and scorch your precious flesh black. So choose modestly and choose wisely, for there is much more at stake here than your little hopes and dreams.
Not you! For my life and my work, I shall not suffer this humiliation again!
This world is dull and ugly. An imperfect feast of sights, feelings, and smells that repulse and depress. Yet amongst this deformity, I have found my sublime calling. This world may be abominable, but to an extent, I can be its savior. I have been gifted with a special sight. Before me lies a blueprint of perfection, a kind of hidden beauty within skin, muscles, tendons, and organs. With a tempered hand and a sharpened blade, I will refashion, reshape, and rebirth this world. My obligation is immense, something that will, in all likelihood, consume my life. I cannot rest. My calling energizes me. Such is an artist's curse and compulsion.
And so it begins. My ethereal veins now run with dark ambition. Let's turn that trickle into a torrent. Let's harvest ourselves a Grand Inquisitor. Just as Chevron's spirit chose to return to comfortable climes, Maligaro's essence once again dwells in his very own chamber of sins. Though I hasten to add that Maligaro's sins are not my sins. I prefer transgressions of a more natural order than does he. I'd carry you to Frisia if I could, yet I expended too much of myself when I snatched you from the jaws of Kitava. You will need to find your own path, as will I. Make the journey, and please survive it. We too have much work left to do.
What are you doing? God drag you to damnation if you're gonna stand by and let this happen to me, to us! Because believe me, the Brian King has far greater appetites than one nothing of a girl from Oriath. It doesn't matter what he'll do to me now. It's what he'll do to Rayclast. Yet there's hope. There's always hope. If only you can reach Merveil's cave. If only...
Wrath. At last, your thirst is quenched. Good souls were hard enough to come by without that parched old goat drinking his fill. You have done humanity a noble service. this land to the will of its true children. The Asmeri believed that, one day, this world of ours would collapse under the weight of Raslatha's offspring. A frightening thought, and thankfully, a mistaken one.
You've killed the Karui war god. Can you kill a god? Look, I can't even begin to understand what you've just done. Vestal will be able to put our gratitude into words more fitting of a legend. Me, I'll work with what I know. A solid reward for a damn fine deed. Good work clearing another path through Axiom Prison. I'm starting to think those stories I've heard about you might be true. With the road to the Frisian forest clear again, I trekked through to the forests beyond to see if the strangeness we're seeing on the coast is also happening inland. What I saw nearly froze my heart solid. The animals there, poor wretches, overtaken by some sort of parasite. As close as I can reckon, they're like termites, burrowing into flesh and mind instead of wood. If I'm right, there'll be a nest somewhere, and a queen. If you can find it, destroy it. Those parasites aren't something we want to see around here anytime soon. Another damn god, you say? Yeah, that figures. A primitive deity from a primitive time, crawling up out of the dirt with a view to enslaving us all with its creeping, bloody offspring. I think we could all do without gods like that. So here, take something for the road ahead. The way things are going, it'll be a tough one. The ship graveyard's blocked off. Damn it! That means that Brine King bastard knows you're coming after Nessa. In that case, you'll have to pass through Prisoner's Gate, follow the mountains, and make your way back to the sea by way of Mervale's caverns. From the sound of it, Ness is in no condition to venture far from the coast, so she has to be around there somewhere.
Who'd have thought those bleating bastards would go and find religion, eh? Now there's nothing quite so sure to spoil a man's appetite than an ecclesiastical debate come supper time. Yet this goatman god, this Aberoth, seems fair determined to mix his morsels with his spiritual enlightenments. To put no finer point on it, when the goatmen find him a soft pink human or two as divine sacrifice, he eats them, meat, soul, and all. Well, that's what the legends say. The old goat's turned up his tootsies, has he? Oh, wait! I feel a poem coming on.
Through the bleating flock, our exile did wade, over hoof and horn and goat blood sprayed, until at last an audience with old King Billy, or the Cloven One, or Aberoth, and other names just as silly. Dine with me, friend, old Billy did growl. Feed me your soul, feed me it now. Our exile just smiled and gutted that goat, so that not one more soul would get stuffed down his old throat.
Honestly, you wouldn't believe how hard it is to find a good rhyme for goat exile. You do know it's cruel to make jests of an addled mind, don't you? Nessa, alive, and turned into a bloody cod. Huh. That said, you've never been wrong before, so seems like I'm going to have to stare this fanciful tale in its fishy face. She talked of the Brine King, did she? Now there's a name what can trouble the breeches of even the most jaded of poets. Though Mervale might be dead, the sea still has its seductive songs, and this time it's a big, briny baritone doing the wailing. Poor Nessa. If the ship graveyard is sealed off with some brine-born barrier, then the king clearly knows that you're coming to relieve him of his queen-to-be. Ah, well, you should be used to long and arduous journeys now. If nothing else, it's good fodder for an epic. I'd best get composing.
The Brine King, his time has almost come. Then hope will be... I will be gone. Please, take the black flag. It once fluttered from the mast of the Black Crest, Whalem Roth's ship. Throw it into the flames of the beacon. It's your only chance of reaching me, of turning this tide. The king can't keep secrets like this from me any longer. It's just the way of things. Find me, please, before...
So you're the shite that's gone and summoned me to the beacon, eh? Damn it all. These rules are now I'm bound to you. The legendary Whalem Roth, captain of the Black Crest, cursed to be the undead slave of some lowly outcast by the looks of it. You got an ass for a brain in a tick skull of yours? Of course I'll ferry you to the Brine King's bloody reef. I'd be wanting to discharge this accursed duty and get back to me afterlife. It's not right. Not natural being above water without a beating heart in me chest. So get yourself aboard and be quick about it. Don't think I'm going to be bawling and chaining after your sorry ass once our journey to the reef is done. Right, well on with it then. Go find yourself a salty sovereign to the throne. Fool's errand, if you ask me. Old Bryony will gut you like a fish, But at least with you dead in the water, I'll be free to get on with my own voyage. So off you go, matey. Lord of Salt and Scales, what we used to call him. They say when the gods got the boot from our lands, that monstrosity went to sleep down in the deep. Dreamed the kind of dreams that cause all sorts of guild abominations to rise up, to plague and hunt us for what he thinks we must have done to him. Was a time we got ordered to hunt them things near extinction. Free the trade routes from old Briney's tyranny. Even so, not a sailor worth his salt who won't sacrifice a lousy deckhand or two by light of the full moon just to keep that overgrown crab slumbering in the Oriathan trench. If he's risen again, you bet your bloody ass we're all buggered.
The poem is, you've the deck of the mighty Black Crest under your feet, and old Whalem himself to man the helm. Well, I'll be a pirate's monkey, mate. You sure do know how to travel in style, Exile.
Yeah, I know the Brine King. What pirate doesn't? Drown me fair share of mutineers under the full moon. To keep the old king's slumber when storms threaten, you see. If he's been roused from the depths, it'd be nothing but ill tidings for those of us with air in our lungs. He'll be getting back to raping and eating us ocean-going folks soon enough. Stealing wombs in which to spawn his slithering offspring. Aye, that blasphemy is out there somewhere right now, I'd wager. And to think there'd still be folks needing transport from Oriath. More commissions to be had. But a lecherous sea god, now, that complicates things.
Old salty Sogoth, pickled in a thick brine of ignominious carnality. Vanity was Sogoth's downfall, and I think he grew his shell just to shield himself from the shame of it all. It's time he sailed out to that reef refuge of his, cracked his carapace, and dined on the divine meat beneath. When I first met Sogoth, he was a seafaring chieftain, the beloved leader of a prosperous and sprawling fisher tribe. It was the curse of legacy that made him into the blasphemous Brine King, an endless madness of propagation and disappointment, all in the vain hope of recreating himself. Fishwife after fishwife he took, and every one of them spawned a monster. A truly noble king would have surrendered his kingdom to cleaner blood. Alas, although Sogoth had many fine qualities, generosity was not one of them.
So courageous. Such a fine example of womanhood. I simply knew you wouldn't disappoint me. Or my husband. You see, His Majesty could never be satiated on his wedding day by one bride alone. Thank you, my new sister. I shall always treasure your company.
born of ocean's mire, and death washed clean of dark desire. And thus the Lord of Salt and Scale sinks to feed the fishes that flit amongst the ruins of Soartha. Come and jest of his divine juices while they are all washed away.
How did you? You're still breathing. Bloody barnacles on me arse. You, my new friend, are a legend of the high seas to behold. I tell you what, I've already done my bit getting you here, but if you're looking to sail on to Frisia, me and the Black Crest would be honored to take ya.
The Black Crest. She lives again. And me granddaddy. Still can't believe Mervale did that to him. The bilesome bitch. At least his spirit roams free once again. Wonder if he'll come and visit his favorite granddaughter one more time. Anyways, with the Brine King gone, you've done a fine thing for us seafarers. The waters won't no longer pander to the whim of an overgrown, bloody crustacean. And damn me if I don't feel a stirring in me loins. It's the ocean, calling, like a lust-starved lover. But for now, bugger it all. I'll be sticking about Lion Eye's watch until I get me a new ship. Don't feel sorry for me. With me womanly wiles as sharp as they are, I'll be having Tarkley help me pass the time. Just you see.
Clearly the old Brine King wasn't worth his salt. A fish out of water, if ever there was. But I suppose, as someone wise once said, you can't teach a crab to walk straight. Too much. Yeah, be honest with you. All this fishy mirth is me just swimming around a tricky topic. Nessa. She's not coming back to us, is she? Can't say I'm surprised. But with everything she's been through, what she's become, I wish her all the happiness she can find out there in the sea. More than she could muster on this God's awful land of ours.
I'd hoped for a chance to see Nessa again. Dreamed it like some poor bloody child believing in fairy tales. No, she's not one of us anymore. But at least she's not like Mervale either. Can't overlook a mercy like that. Who knows? Perhaps Nessa is better off this way. Not like this is much of a home to come back to anyway. Look, I know you did what you could. And for that, you'll always have my thanks.
Hold on to your cockles, me hearty. The sea betwixt here and Frisia be the most ill-tempered there is. Here's hoping you've as much steel in your gizzard as you seem to in your heart. Cast off!